So, good evening, everyone. It seems that the system is working properly today, so I hope we have a nice chat today. First of all, thank you, Valerio, already for your super chat. Hi, Mark. Thanks every time for the news. Thank you for doing this even before I was online. It's really nice. I checked the audio before. It was an issue with OBS. OBS is... And this time it seems to be synchronous. If it's not synchronous, please tell me. I had to turn it on and off and on and off recently with the filming as well. So let's have a quick look. Who are the early birds here? There are always some already in the beginning. Hi, Dano. See your messages all the time. Hi, David. Hi, dude. Yeah, I see your messages too every time. Hi, Katrina. Hi, Valerio. And David, was it you from Hong Kong? After midnight already. So I'm quite glad you're joining us today. Hi, Christian. Did I receive messages from you again? Probably. I will see. But first of all, today I want to talk about some topics. And one of them will be the elections that are running just right now in Germany. And the results, the first prognosis will come in right now. So will be fun in a few minutes, because unfortunately my party gonna get the ass kicked. I'm afraid. But first I wanted to talk quickly about a topic I am having in a video tomorrow, because everybody on the UK government side was a bit denying the decline in exports and imports, and not really counting in that a lot of trucks are leaving the UK empty. The numbers for January are in. Of course, there's something with the stockpiling before the end of the year, but still, we didn't stockpile that much here in Germany, and the numbers are quite clear. The exports from Germany to the UK fell by 30% in January. The German Statistics Office published them. I know Germany is not the EU, but it's just one example of 27, because Germany has a big trade relationship with the UK. You could put that on the stockpiling before the end of the year, if there wasn't one other thing. The exports from the UK to Germany fell by 56%, so almost double. And that has more to do with Brexit, and they went through the numbers, and of course there's always a bit of corona in there, but in this case a lot is related to Brexit. And in full numbers, for the Brexiteers always partying the decline of the German exports, in total numbers both lost about 2 billion in January. So it didn't hurt Germany more than it hurt the UK, and that's still not something nice to hear. And to be fair, I made some videos today about some companies, that UK companies, that were talking about, we didn't know what we all had to do from January. Nobody could know this. We were totally surprised. No, you shouldn't have been, because all the rules that are in place now are not new rules, as everybody calls them. And so since 2016, when the result came in from the referendum, people should have had a look what it means to be a third country to trade with the EU, because those rules were there already, and those rules are still there. And it should have been easy on that side, because the UK helped make those rules. They were a member of the European Union for quite a long time. Son of Viking, are you sure you are in sync? I'm just gonna have a quick look on your post about the imports thing. Yeah, Christian, you talked about the whiskey imports. I get complained that I was even talking about this on my channel, and I kept you up to date about this. So it's really fun that people are offended if you talk about a single thing, but who doesn't like what I'm talking about? Nobody is forced to watch me, so I'm really glad you all are watching me and you're very supportive all the time, but who doesn't like what I'm saying can just leave. Isn't that easy? And I will always pick examples from practice. And sometimes it is stuff like that. Tomorrow there will be another beer issue because we in Germany can't celebrate a certain day properly because we can't get the proper beer for that. But you'll hear about that tomorrow. And in connection with this Brexit import thingy, of course, the thing that the EU Parliament postponed the ratification for the second time already. They postponed setting a date for ratification a second time. And Brexiteers really start to blame the EU for that now, that they are not able to ratify that thing. Oh, they would have been able to ratify that thing. And I'm quite sure they all read that thing. But there is one issue. Do you make another contract with somebody who broke your last contract you already have with them? Do you widen your relationship with someone you can't trust because they don't stick to their word, and not even their word, it's signed, ratified contracts that are now international law? I wouldn't, and I have a lot of understanding for the EU Parliament, for the elected MEPs that are only have to rely on their conscience what they do. Nobody is telling them what to do. Nobody can tell them what to do. They are elected by the people, and if their conscience tells them, I can't put it on my conscience to ratify that thing, they won't do that. Would you ratify that thing under the current circumstances? Would be interesting to hear that. Well, gentil, Mark, I think the EU will sign it as they will bind UK. The problem is, if we ratify that thing and Johnson continues to do what he's doing now, and putting Frost in that position where he is now was a clear sign from Johnson how he wants to play that game. And the MEPs are in a real dilemma here. They are building the future. To cancel the whole thing again is much harder than not ratifying it at all, because not everything is in place now already. If you want to get out of that thing, the time is the before ratification. It will harm both sides even more than it does now, but what is the point of ratifying that thing, having a new relationship, giving some clearances for the UK, given some adequacy decisions, and you have to take them back weeks later? That is a big problem. And Gentil, good example. The EU will change unilaterally and sign. There are still a lot of Brexiteers out there that try to tell me that the UK can unilaterally change treaties. I really don't know what to say about that one. In what kind of mindset do you have to believe such a thing? Seriously. So then we should get started and change all the deals we've signed before and just change them for our purpose. That would be fun. No, but it will be difficult. And some other Brexiteer claim that I'm paid by the EU to make these videos. First of all, I wish from the point of income. No, but I'm not. And I told you last time, I sent a request to a chairman of a committee, of the Brexit committee. I still haven't gotten my answer with the statement. So there you can see how much they're working with me and how much they're paying me. I haven't gotten the statement on the whole ratification thing yet. I don't know if they exist, or if there's some deeper thing exists. I don't think so. Later on, I will ask answer some questions, of course, you sent in the first place, but it's not that many, so I want to go through some topics. If you have a question in between, your best chance is to use Super Chat, so I will see it. Because of all the technology I'm getting used to at the moment, because I changed a lot here, I can't use my big monitor because one of the hubs is not giving power to my notebook, so I need the other mini USB to give power to that thing, and so I can't plug in my bigger screen. So it's easy for me to overlook some things there. But before I go to your questions, I still have some other things I just want to mention quickly. The next thing is, it's not Brexit related. It's kind of Poland related, I must say, if you look between the whole thing. But before I go to that topic, no, dude, I'm not even technically employed by the German government. For nothing. I'm employed by the people of my district for my voluntary work. I have no paid job at all related to this. So they elected me into a voluntary position here, but I have no job from the German government, not even indirectly. Because that's just a voluntary position I was elected in. That is my another spare time hobby, so to speak. That is no profession, that is no job in a technical measure. It is a voluntary, it's voluntary work. So, but I wanted to go to another topic with as I said, with Poland. The EU declared Europe, or the European Union's territory, LGBT freedom zone, with quite a majority in the EU Parliament, and it is just a sign. There has to be a lot of concrete steps to follow that one. And as you all probably know by now, I do follow that topic as well very closely in the EU. This was just a sign. This was just a signal. So nothing of real concrete, what's the word? It will have no real concrete follow-ups now. It's just a signal. But there have to be concrete measures put in place in the future to fill this with life. But that was a clear signal now, especially to the 100 LGBT free zones in Poland, that this is absolutely unacceptable within the EU. The EU is protecting minorities. And that this is still absolutely necessary is the comments I regularly get. I can't say if it's an incident or not, but it always was Brexiteers that said that these are in my shelf. That is disgusting. I have to remove them. I never got that from a Remainer in this discussion. That always were Brexiteers. I don't say all Brexiteers are like this or all Remainers are very arrived in the 21st century. But in this case, it was just a fact. It was just Brexiteers. I'm just stating a fact here. I'm not generalizing this. I'm just stating this fact. But I still get this. I get insults and I get stuff like this. It's disgusting. Remove them, blah, blah, blah. Just because some flags are standing on my shelf. And that's quite a clear signal that we do need to work on this in Europe. Poland showed us already with the 100 LGBT free zones that a lot of people are still living in the Middle Ages, and that we have to work on the issues and we have to defend minorities. I'm used to getting threats and whatever since I was in school, because that time I started voluntarily to work in politics. And then I'm gay, so you get a lot of that. I just remember one day I was walking down the street in London, which you think is usually a very open-minded city. We were walking, I was younger, hand in hand through London, and somebody passed by with a car and threw eggs on us. I was glad it was just eggs, could have been something very different. But that still shows a lot of people have a so closed and mind set that they are still living in the Middle Ages and do not get what it is. I usually don't explicitly go to that topic too much, because for me, I don't care what others do, and it's absolutely the wrong sign that gay people have to openly and publicly fight for their rights. It's just should be a normality. Some gay people are fighting for this completely wrong, because they're making such a big fuss that's completely gaining the complete opposite of what we should have, because they make themselves exceptional. And even before I realized that I am gay, I never thought that this is exceptional. I always thought that's something normal before I even realized it for myself. And so to go through this the hard way, always provocation and stuff like this is the wrong way as well. I don't care what others do in their bedroom, and they don't have to care what I do in mine. And just to quote somebody really intelligent there, love is love. Yeah, and about all the other things, let's be it. But it's a shame that the EU had to use a signal like this. It's an important signal at the moment because of everything that happens, but it is a shame that the signal was necessary at all. And then before I go quickly to the state elections, in most of the countries where you probably are as well, you must be still in some kind of lockdown at the moment. Here in Germany, as you could see, I could get a haircut again, but in most places, you can only go shopping if you have an appointment. You can only go in there for a limited time, and only with an appointment. But everybody in some kind they are all booking Mallorca at the moment. We are lifting the restrictions for people coming from Mallorca as well, because the we call it incidence in Mallorca is very low at the moment. It's under 35. But I still don't understand all the people booking holidays there right now, because we don't know what's going to happen in the next week. Of course, there will be more vaccinations, but we will not have reached that many all over the world that we need until summer. And so I really don't understand that Mallorca is booked like hell at the moment. Just one example I picked again, but Eurowings, for example, the German subsidiary of Lufthansa that flies from the UK to Mallorca as well, has to put up more flights now because they're completely booked out already. And they have to set up more flights, and not only from the UK. No, they're not the only ones, which I still would call unreasonable. I don't go to holidays this year, even if I wouldn't have to make so many videos. This is the wrong time. I'm hoping in autumn that we can have some meetings here again for carnival preparations and stuff like this. But in the summer, I'm not planning to go anywhere. And I don't know what you think, but I think that's still a bit unreasonable to do so, because we need the whole planet to be on the right track to get rid of that virus. Otherwise, there will be more mutations, more variants, and it might turn out as a never-ending story. But I hope that it will go down more. In Germany at the moment, the numbers are not looking that good because of even if they always complain when I call it this, the British variant. The variant we call British because it was discovered in Britain, as we call the Brazilian one that was discovered in Brazil, and the South African one that was discovered in South Africa. And most people here are getting the British variant now. We had a bigger outbreak here because of 2 big families that didn't stick to the rules in my hometown, and 60% of them had the British variant. And all over Germany, I guess at the moment it is it's 40% or 50% that get the British variant now, not the original one. And that is more contagious. And that's why the numbers are rising at the moment. In my hometown, we were at an incidence of 25 already. Now we were over 40, and now we are 38 or something. Yeah, that was much better before the British variant arrived here. And I made a video about it. It's not even more contagious. It seems to be a little bit more deadly as well. But fortunately, at the moment, most people getting infected here in Germany are very young. They're teenagers. And so they're not that much in a danger to have a serious results from that. Hi, all shorts. Welcome to my live stream. And then the last topic I picked for myself today is where we probably get a bit our ass kicked. I just want to get started before I have a look at the first numbers of the state elections today. In 2 of the 16 states, there are state elections today. Germany is a federal state, and we have 16 federal states with their own parliaments, their own governments, and it's a real federation, not a union like the UK. It's a federal state. That means there are really exactly split competences between the general parliament, the federal parliament in Berlin, and the federal government and the state parliaments and governments. So some competences, like the crisis we have now, it's a complete state competence. The federal government only helps there, or school and stuff like this. So a lot is really split up. And so these state elections are important. And right before this, that reminds me a bit of Scotland, although this was self-inflicted here by those people. We had a few scandals from people from my party and our sister party that reminded me a bit of Hancock's friends in the UK. Because some of our MEPs made money by helping get contracts for masks and protective gear and stuff like that, and had themselves paid by those companies. And some others have been lobbying for Azerbaijan for money. And of course, that came out right before the election. What a surprise. But other than in the UK with the Hancock thing and his friends, my party took immediate consequences out of this. The people were asked to step down. Some did, and some just left the party because they didn't want to step down. But it's the same. They're out of the party. That is what you have to do. If you're in a scandal like this, you can't stay in your post. You can't keep your mandate. You have to go. And either you do that or you have to leave the party. That's what happened now. But of course, a scandal like this will influence elections. And I haven't looked at the numbers yet. In Rhineland-Palatinate and in Baden-Württemberg, there are elections now. Baden-Württemberg is one of the biggest states in Germany, and with a green prime minister for years now. And I think in both, my party, the Christian Democrats, is not doing very well. So I just it's not a Brexit topic or something else, but I think it's quite interesting to see at a time like this we are having elections still. Although there's a lockdown, most people were voting by mail. I got those reports today already that a lot of people voted by mail. Only a very limited number went to the polling stations. And you see, democracy still can work even in a lockdown. Voting by mail is nothing unusual in Germany. Nobody would complain here about voting by mail except some right-wing idiots, because it's a very usual thing here. It's not that new as it was to many people in the USA in the last election, and they're using it here a lot. In the past, you had to prove that you're not at home on election day to use it, but to be honest, right now, a lot of people are just using it because it's convenient. And you can go to early vote, you can go to the polling station, or you can vote by mail. That's all very standard now in Germany. So I'm gonna just have a look on the results right now. Oh boy. I can see in Baden-Württemberg and in Rhineland-Palatinate, my party lost big time. In both, more than 4%. But it equalized that a lot of this went to the liberals in Baden-Württemberg. The good news is, even if we had losses, the good news is in both parliaments, the right-wing extremists lost a lot. Well, not a lot, but they lost in both. In one, they had... is running very fast. They fell by almost 4%, and the other they fell by more than 2%. And that's a good sign, because in all consecutive elections before this, in all consecutive state elections before this, they won. And they won big in the last years. And it's a good sign that they are starting to lose votes. After the live stream, I will watch, of course, everything about this election. And the analyses and stuff like this, but I wasn't surprised about the results now. The Social Democrats were the biggest party in Rhineland-Palatinate, and they still are, with, I guess, only very slight losses. There's what we call a traffic light coalition there. They are in power together with the Greens and the Liberals. They have what we call traffic light coalition. We in Germany, we are so used to coalitions because we don't have first past the post. It's very unusual nowadays that one party gets an absolute majority, although Merkel in between was that close to getting it in one general election. But usually in every state you have a coalition government. Bavaria was one point where for many years that was necessary, but even they are in a coalition at the moment, and in Baden-Württemberg in the past. Before Fukushima, that changed a lot and some scandals there. In Baden-Württemberg there always was a very black, because the Christian Democrats are called the Black Party in the past, and always used the black in all the diagrams. They were there in charge with an absolute majority. So in Rhineland-Palatinate we had a traffic light coalition, and from the numbers I had a quick look on, I think it's going to stay that way. And in Baden-Württemberg we had a green-black coalition. So the Christian Democrats were the junior partner of the Green Prime Minister. He came in his office because 2 weeks after Fukushima there were elections in Baden-Württemberg, and since that time the Green is in office. And it would be possible to change to a traffic light coalition in Baden-Württemberg as well. But Winfried Kretschmer is the name of the Green Prime Minister. He said he wants the green-black coalition, so we will see if he sticks to his words. But that's the thing in Germany, if you have a proportional representation system or this hybrid system. Half of the seats are elected by first past the post. That's what we call the direct seats. And there are the other half of the seats will be by proportional representation. And the proportional representation will decide how many seats you get in full. So if you have more, if you already have all your seats by direct elections with the direct seats, that happens a lot to the Christian Democrats at the moment, you don't get any seat from your list anymore via proportional representation, because the proportional representation decides how many seats you get overall. And so something like in the UK with the current House of Commons, that you have 43% and you have a big majority of all the seats, cannot happen here. All Shorts just asked something. If we have a satirical publication like Charlie Hebdo, we have several satiric publications, like the Titanic, for example, or dude, help me out. What's the name? The Postillon is one I'm reading every day on social media. That's quite funny, but the problem is some people really think that their articles they are posting, they are true. That shows how well educated some people are. And of course we have a lot of satire on TV. Like dude said, Jan Böhmermann, for example, he was the one getting in a bit of trouble with Erdogan. Erdogan even sued him for his poem and stuff like that. But we do have them. We have a lot of them here. What did I write there? That happens if you try to put in commands and talking at the same time. Yeah, but it's really funny. When you are the target of satire, you seem to behave a lot of differently than just listening to him making fun of other people. Now, and of course, we have the Heute Show. That's a TV show that is on for quite a long time, and it's on a public broadcasting station, and they are making fun of our government a lot, but also of the right-wing idiots. The liberals were a target for quite some time there before they were kicked out, and other formats as well. So we have a lot of satire here, and Germans do have humor. We have a lot of comedy here. So for those who still don't believe this, you really have to browse through YouTube for some German comedy. Son of Viking, looks like the outside view is trolling the chat. It's not funny, by the way. I had several guys kicked off YouTube who impersonate other channels at the moment and comment in their name. They steal the logos and comment in their name. But the people, I hope, are intelligent enough to see that, because those impersonation channels only have one subscriber. And if you get a weird message, just have a look at the subscribers they have. If it's one, it's not me. But I personally had several of them kicked off YouTube already. And I guess others do the same, because they were impersonating even Jeff Taylor, I must say, because someone tried to get me into the discussion impersonating Jeff Taylor. So, but yeah. State elections are interesting. We have a 5% hurdle in all the elections, so you need to have 5% as a party to get in there. That is why the left party, for example, which is in our federal parliament, the Bundestag, will not get into any of those state parliaments. I'm just waiting for the day when the AfD will fall under that 5%, because they are really right extremists, and they're really unbearable to listen to. When I go, when the lockdown is over and I join our city council again, because now at the moment we only let the city councillors go there and don't go there watching. I could have a seat there as as a deputy district mayor, but during the lockdown I stay away. We talked about this before already anyway. But when I am there, and before Corona I was always there, I always really could throw up when I heard these guys talk. They are that racist. That is really unbelievable. And they were attacking me here on YouTube as well, only because I talked about them. So they have quite a network as well, and that's the problem I was talking about many times already. The spreading of fake news to influence people really became a viral form. More and more I hear about now new Brexit channels that are still advertising for Brexit, that are, I must say, allegedly coming from China or Russia. That's at least what you hear all the time, and are making advertisements for Brexit. And I thought it's over. They won, they are out. What do they want now? No, because now the government is trying to cover up a lot of this with Corona, as Max, Phil, others, and I predicted last year already that they will try to do that. And they always said, no, we don't have to, it will be a success. But they are trying to do that at the moment. They are covering up a lot, either by using false statistics like Gove did, or by just saying, yeah, that's Corona. And I can read this in the comments with many Brexiteers as well that are saying, oh no, that's not Brexit, that's Corona. Although it's absolutely sure that it is Brexit. Hi Glasgow, nice to see you here. I always see you, of course, and read when you write on Discord. Technical issue seems to be okay today, by the way, Glasgow. I seem to have sorted some things out. So, but that was just a small excursion to Germany for a change, because right now there are elections. And so I thought that would be quite interesting to have a quick look there as well. It makes our, let's say, state picture a bit more colorful. Where I live, we have a black and yellow. The Liberals are yellow in Germany, a black and yellow coalition. Now in Rhineland-Palatinate, we'll have a traffic light coalition again. In Baden-Württemberg, a green-black coalition. In, I think it was Berlin, we have a red-red-green. Red, one red is the Social Democrats, the other red is the left. And so it's quite interesting. Oh, Minnie. Hi, haven't seen you. Nice to have you too. And let's have a quick look now in between. Now many people more have joined. So see who I have missed of my people I often see. FSM is the dog. Hi there. Was nice talking to you on Max's stream last time. Hi Junie. Hi Kyle. Hi Renda, hi Tiger, hi Peter, hi Tom, and hi Wolfie. The others I should have had already. Don't forget to press the like button, by the way, if you like it. I always see that there's more viewers than likes. Of course, I got some questions from you as well. And the first one is from someone who wrote later when I pronounced his name that I didn't butcher it as much as others, but I still don't know how to say it. But before I get started with this, thank you, Minnie, for your super chat in support of the CDU, which I didn't vote today in Baden-Württemberg. Okay, thank you very much, Minnie. But I was expecting many people not to do this today. You came a bit later, probably, so you didn't hear what I said about the elections and why I expected that and what happened here. But you obviously are informed and know what happened with some very idiotic MPs in advance of the elections. But let's then get to your Kaut or Koit. Hi Mark, Brexit was all about taking back controls of borders and political sovereignty. My question, and I'm puzzled about this, is how do you measure border control and sovereignty? Did one of them improve this year? For the UK, you mean, because that was Brexit about. Well, first of all, there is obviously an official definition of sovereignty, but that's not what was meant, because can't be, because sovereignty means I can decide what I want to do. I am informed, Mark. Yeah, Mini, I thought so. And of course, the UK was sovereign before Brexit, and they are sovereign now. They can decide what they want to do. They could do this while they were a member of the European Union. They decided for 40 years what they wanted to do. Whatever happened in the European Union happened with the consent of the UK. Without it, it wouldn't have happened. So they were sovereign all the time. And so, and they were sovereign to leave. So they were always sovereign. And so from my point of view, they're not more sovereign now than they were before. They just changed their decisions. Before that, they decided they don't want to decide some things just for themselves anymore. They want to do it in concert with 27 others. And there they was still their sovereign decision, what they decided there. And now they're just deciding this in another place, in the House of Commons or in the government, without even asking the parliamentarians, which is another problem. And so no, in sovereignty, nothing has changed. And with the border control, yeah, of course, that's an obvious one. With not controlling your borders, it's obviously got much worse. Before, the borders were... Yeah, now I'm breaking my own rules, because there's one troll with a point that always comes up. The UK wanted to stop free movement. The EU would not listen. No, the EU would not listen. That is a part of membership, that there is free movement. If you don't want the obligations of membership, you have to leave. When that was introduced, UK was part of it, and they agreed to do that. And you can't stand up and unilaterally change the decisions you once have made with 27 others. If you don't like anymore what you created, you have to leave. And that's what they did. And so they were still sovereign. Sovereignty doesn't mean that you tell 27 others what they have to do. That is not sovereign. That's just trying to be a dictator, which definitely doesn't work with the EU. And bullying didn't work with the EU. That's why Cameron was forced by his own wrongdoings to pull this referendum, because they tried to bully their way through the EU all the time. And there was a point where the other 27 said, stop, not anymore, no exceptions anymore. Either you accept the rules of the club or leave it. There was a point where the others were really fed up. And it was good that they were fed up. And the good thing, and I'll come to this on another question later, is that the big exception is out of the EU. That's not there anymore. There are a few small ones from very old members. That's okay. But there are no new exceptions, and there won't be any anymore. And everyone who joins will have to join under the rules of the club or not join at all. So, but I was at the borders. The border controls are much worse now in the UK than they were before. Before that, they were an outer border of the EU. And now at the border between the EU and the UK, there are no checks and controls. The British government even extended the time of not checking stuff until October at least. And so that is much less border control than they had before. And the other one from York is not that serious, just one for giggles. Is Queen Elizabeth an unelected bureaucrat? No, because to be honest, she has no power. Like our president, and that for a good reason. Because people... our presidents had a lot of power before the Second World War, and that combined with the way the constitution was made that time led to all the trouble and all the dark times that came then. And that's why after the war, the German president, for example, is just a representative president who's a bit of a guardian of the constitution as well, because he can deny signing laws, but that's all he can do. He cannot make laws. He only can deny signing laws if he believes they are against the constitution. And then the constitutional court will get involved. And the Queen is a representative position as well. Her Majesty doesn't have the power the kings had hundreds of years ago. She, of course, has some power from her private side because of all the money she has and stuff like this. And of course, then you have influence and all this. But on legal terms, could she have denied signing the postponement of or the forced holiday break on Parliament when Boris Johnson came up with it and sent Rees-Mogg there last year? I don't think if she could legally have done that. Could she not hold the speech? I'm quite sure from what she dressed up in was completely against her beliefs that she held in Parliament after the new government was in place. She could have denied Boris Johnson being Prime Minister if she was that powerful to just do that because she doesn't want that kind of politics. What a lot of people believe is her belief. Of course, there are some things where you might say she could be powerful if she wanted to. I don't know who many of you have seen, not The Crown, the other series with the royals, where the king suddenly takes over the armed forces and takes over power. I don't know if there's a new season. I haven't seen that. I think it was the royals. If she, as a head of the military, would do that, of course, then she would be powerful again. But in the current situation, she isn't. Yeah, Wolfgang, thank you. I know I talked about this election on this stream before. And then there's the question I mentioned a bit earlier that I would come to. How can UK rejoin EU? Well, first of all, at the moment, I don't see the UK rejoining the EU at all. Not in the next decade. And what happens after that will totally depend on a lot of developments. But it also depends on the rejoin movement in the UK is not very strong, as I can see that. And Labour is not even touching that issue. So there is no big party supporting it. And so we are talking about a long time if they ever get to that conclusion that they want to do that. And but if they ever want to rejoin the EU, is rejoin in technical terms then more the wrong term? Of course, everybody is talking about rejoining because they were a member. But in that case, they would just join the EU like any other country. There is no special treatment for someone who once has been a member. They will have to go through the whole process. They will have to apply for membership. They will have to go through all the 35 protocols like every other country, and like even, for example, an independent Scotland would have to do if they get independence and if they want to join the EU. Or like North Macedonia at the moment, or Serbia, or many other countries that are applying for membership or are at the moment in the process of going through the 35 chapters. And the same would be for the UK. And they would have to join, and that's why it's even more unlikely, for quite some time at least, they would have to join under the full normal membership rules. Nobody of sound mind will ever allow them to join with the exceptions they had before. So if the EU doesn't go completely crazy, the UK would have to join like every other new member of recent times under the same full conditions. No exceptions, no rebates, nothing. And that makes me think that it's not so likely that they will join again. But you never know. Does any of you think in the next decade we will see anyone in the UK going that direction? I don't. Oh, dude. Once again, dude. I just take the first part of your questions. If I commit a crime in Northern Ireland and run to Ireland, do I get away with it? Or does the UK have an extradition treaty with the EU? First of all, extradition treaties are between nation states usually. And I'm quite sure that they still have an extradition treaty between the UK and Ireland. If there are some Irish friends out there at the moment, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they could have that. And so you would be arrested. But the other point is, I don't know at the moment. I think you live in Germany, but I don't know if you are German. But if you are German and caught by this, the Irish would send you to Germany. And what many people don't know, you will be, if that crime you committed in Northern Ireland is also a criminal offense here in Germany, a German court will take care of you. So if you as a German commit a crime in another country, and that is a crime, as regarded as a crime here in Germany, you will put in front of a German court as well. And that's a bit of the problem some people forget when they have some certain travels to the Netherlands. What is illegal here is still illegal for a German citizen in another country, even if it's not illegal in that country. And so some people had some very bad surprises once. It makes sense. So if there's some rogue states like North Korea and they allow you to kill somebody just for fun, you will still be charged for murder here in Germany if somebody finds out. And forgive me, dude, but I'll leave out the pirate rest. Then Valerio, thank you again for your super chat in the beginning. You sent in a question as well. I would like to ask you why, in your opinion, the UK exports decreased not only towards the EU, but also towards the USA. I'm very curious to know your point of view. Thank you. First of all, partly, of course, because of Corona. Not everything was caused by Brexit. But many things sold by the UK are not necessarily produced by the UK. And they do buy a lot of stuff in Asia, of course. And it's not only the UK, others do that too. But to make it quite simple, is they just iron that shirt and then sell it on. And they say they processed it. But it's still not of UK origin, so that's a problem at the moment for selling stuff from the UK to Germany, for example. But the other thing is the whole container costs for trade, for traffic on ships have exploded. A container cost 1.5 years ago, I think, $2,500 or something to transport it from Asia to Europe. I think at the moment we are between $10,000 and $12,000 per container. And that reduced a lot of trade already. We have the same here with flowers, for example. You don't see that many flowers grown in Africa anymore than you did before. Maybe some of my Netherlands viewers will have gotten that. A lot of flowers we have here in Germany come from the Netherlands. They are the big sellers of flowers here in Europe, and they import a lot of them from Africa, for example. They can't grow everything themselves. And so they imported and re-exported them to other EU countries, for example. But with those costs of containers, it's not very cost efficient anymore to import certain flowers that are very cheap here in the supermarkets or something. So that is an issue, and that might play a role as well in the trade between the UK and the USA. And I saw some comments here today that they are shifting now a lot of trade from the EU to the US or Canada because of the new trade deal with Canada, which is not that new, but still. And the companies doing that already said it's not gonna help that much because the transport costs from the UK to Germany are much lower than the transport costs from the UK to Canada, of course. And so the stuff has to be more expensive there than it is here. And there's a reason why I take this a little bit later. I have to figure something out there. Don't I, son? Then I have a question. How will the EU react to rule-breaking UK? Especially when it comes to the UK leaving the customs border open with Northern Ireland and so on and so on. I'm all for them stopping all trade in the circumstance. Ireland should be the field the UK and EU fight on. Well, I already made videos on that, and I commented on this in the beginning of the video. They are reacting now by first of all triggering the legal response to that. There are ways to do that in the withdrawal agreement, and that's the ways the EU is going now. And of course, the EU Parliament is holding the ratification at the moment. Those are all consequences from the rule breaking by the UK. It is rule breaking, and why Article 16 is not an excuse to do that, I commented on in my last live stream, in many videos, so I won't do that again. It is breaking the contract, period. So the consequences are there. It's funny, by the way, I don't have... there it is. So, Son of Viking sent me quite a long question again. I can't read all your text here. It's a bit too much. It's about the pay transparency legislation and equal pay and stuff like that. And you asked what will the UK do because of the level playing field? Will the UK introduce legislation to keep pace and will raise the standards for equal pay, for pay transparency and stuff like that? Or will the UK introduce a clap for Women Day instead of paying them more like they did now with the nurses? Or will they just tell the media to kindly not to mention anything about the pay for women in the foreseeable future? Well, first of all, we must admit in the EU, in the member states, the equal pay thing, the same payment for women, is not perfectly handled yet, and we will see what the new legislation will do with that, if it will help. But on the other hand, it is, for example, in Germany, not a big issue as some parties want to make out of it, because there are those professions where there is a tariff contract. Tariff in this case is not customs, it's the payment for the people. Women and men are paid equally for the same work. It's in the profession I was in for many years, in the security, for example, where I was leading some companies as well. There was equal pay all the time, because we had contracts for the whole country or for the states. There was always equal pay. They were paid the same for the same amount of time, with the same add-ons for certain times of the day and stuff like that. But there are other professions where it isn't. And for those professions, we still need it. But it's not a thing that everywhere men and women are paid unequally. But there are still cases where it is the case. But not as many as some parties try to push up here all the time. And of course, it just makes sense to pay them equally. Why not? If they're doing the same work, and I'm talking about the same work, they have to be paid equally. And the other thing is, we will see what they will do. At the moment, I have no clue what this UK government will do. How far, at the moment, once again, they are testing the patience of the EU. How far can we go? All these things that happen is always testing how far can we go, how far can we stretch those contracts. And they can't go over the line just quickly, because there is still the ghost of the clearance adequacy certification looming in 2023. And they don't want to harm themselves now completely that the EU says everything has to go. They are still hoping for some adequacy decisions in that area as well, to keep at least some of it, because we're talking about many trillions of euros there. But to be honest, for the coming years, as long as this government is in place, they will try again to stretch the limits of all the contracts. They will try to go under a lot of those contracts. I don't know how far they will go, and I don't know how much they try to work around things. But if you have a look at the moment at the payment of the nurses, which is 1%, that's under price rising level. It's really hard to say what to say about this and still stay polite. But yeah, it's not a big fun. The funny thing is, in the past I had something showing me how long the stream was running. That's very funny. So I need to have a look here. And I think that's a healthy length of time, I guess. I've made a compromise, by the way, for my videos now. Sorry. I really had a lot of patience with some of these trolls, but now I'm run out of it. Somebody asked me, by the way, this week why I don't leave the trolls in so you can play with them. Most of them are very insulting, and most of them are really trying to campaign for certain fake news. And that's always the fake news of the current week of the government. It's like the same thing with the vaccination. When Brexit was kicking their asses, they were always bringing up the vaccination, just to cover up the whole Brexit thing. Then the thing last week that they always brought up again, it's not Brexit, it's Corona. And they're really doing this in numbers. They are trying to put this in the comments of other channels in vast numbers. And that's something I will not allow. I will not allow fake news campaigns on my channel. If some people are deluded and have their weird views, I can differ between those kinds of people discussing there. They can say what they believe. They can, as long as they stay polite, what many of those troll Brexiteers can't do. They are insulting all the time, and then I kick them out. But those who discuss, and I'm not saying Brexiteers as Remainers as well, that discuss in a civilized manner, even if I would say it's complete nonsense, let them talk. But really, those campaign stuff, that will be kicked out by me, because I'm not having this. Tom Nelson, thank you for that super chat. Small token gesture to compensate for your lack of EU salary. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, that's the problem. Some people really believe I get paid by the EU. I only wish they would do that. Then I wouldn't do all these things over and over, just time over time. Like when I finally got a better microphone, that took some time, because I'm always saving money for this, and the money that's coming in via PayPal, for example, I always keep. When some people want to, you read this stuff with give me a coffee. I usually use this for techniques that I save money up, what I make here on YouTube to improve the techniques here. The next thing is going to be then, of course, a camera, because with a phone, I found a way via OBS to connect those, but it's still not a very stable thing. With a proper camera, it would be easier. But a camera with the same quality as it is built in that phone will cost quite a lot of money, and so that will take time. But that's why I'm just saving up the money, and it will come time over time. If I were really working for the EU, like they're saying, they would have given me all the equipment I need, and this would be a perfect studio. And you've seen in the last week, especially with my OBS issues, that this is not a perfect studio. And I'm spending money, of course, on some things. I'm inventing. I talked about the games last week that I set up for certain patrons. All those behind me here, except the unicorn, that's a board game. That's a memory game. That are 2 card games. I made them, and they are gifts for certain patrons. I have a patron level that's called Gamer Patreon. Those are then people that use that really want to support my channel. It's not something for everyone. It's a bit more expensive, and so I'm not advertising for that here. It's really for certain people who want to do that and who want to support that much. And for them, I just have a thank you. I produced games for my voluntary work, as I said last week again already, for schools, for example. I made games that are explaining local politics, for example, a bit more. And in those cases, I have one game you see on my shelf all the time. That's Run, the Brexit Clown Has Come. That's what we, in Germany, we call this game style Black Peter. And the Black Peter, the Schwarze Peter in this game, is the Brexit Clown. And you have a lot of card pairs you need for playing this in here, with certain other things. This, for example, maybe you can see that it's a dominatrix, and so on. So those kind of things I do, and I pre-produced the prototypes, of course. That's what I use my YouTube money for. This will be gifts for, as I said, for those patrons. And this is what we call a quartet in Germany. A quartet in the case of Trumpfen. That's what you call Trump usually. And this is just with the usual thing you know from those games with the cars and motorbikes and whatever. It's just with population, with the birth rates, with GDP and stuff like this. And it's just a fun thing what I do in my spare time. It's to design those is a bit of my way of relaxing. That has then nothing to do with all the computer stuff, with writing scripts. It's just letting my creativity flow a bit. And that thing is the Race for Scotland is a board game. None of those you can buy as merch, so it's not merch advertising here. Just want to show you that's just a board game with all the Scottish constituencies, and there you have cards for the game as well. If they open, as you can see, different constituencies here. And those are just gifts for certain patrons, and you can't buy them anywhere. But that's one of my ways to relax. Designing games is another way of relaxation for me, and that's why I did this. Yeah, FSM is the doctor. Many know these cards as top trumps now because they are the company doing that. Oh, Christian, my Lego is up there on the top of the shelf, and a lot is somewhere else. And some of the Lego got flooded with the basement thing that we had some weeks ago. By the way, insurances are always not nice. What they offered me in compensation now is a joke. It doesn't even pay for the Lego I lost there. Without the boxes, the Lego is worth nothing and everything. But that's another topic. I talked about this on the day when it happened with a full flooded thing. No, but those games, as I said, will be gifts for some of my patrons who are really supporting me a lot there on the higher level. And I think that's a nice thank you for them. But I will not start selling them anywhere. They are just really for that purpose. And I have them made especially for these occasions then. So I don't produce them in bigger numbers. But that was just one excursion. Yeah, Wolfgang, I don't want to put in too many flags. That one was more important to me, I must say, because not everything I do in the studio is about the EU. But anyway, as I want to say thank you. It's more than an hour already, and I think people don't like too long videos. I got it. I made them a bit shorter now, and I'm still trying to find a balance between the amount of videos and the length. But sometimes there's so much stuff. I only wanted to do 3 videos a day, but now I had so much stuff again that I had to make 5, although they are longer, but not as long as the ones that were too long. That you always have to find a balance there. But there is a lot happening at the moment, and a lot is interconnected with each other, and that's why I don't want to leave out too many things. And Christian, I will never put up a GDR flag. Why should I? I'm not from there. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a nice evening. I'm going to watch the elections now and hope that we don't get more kicked in our ass than we were already when I looked in the first poll results of before the election. Thank you very much for joining me on my live stream again. It's getting a bit less than before, but I think that always has to do with time and stuff like this. Oh, thank you, David, very much. It's the wee hours here, Mark, but I enjoy your content. Thank you very much for your super chat. And I hope to see you again next week. I will continue, and I don't care if it's 300 like we once almost had, or if it's just 140 like today. I just do it for the people who like to watch. And we see us again soon. You'll see my next video if you want tomorrow morning at 6 p.m. CET. And some of you are gonna see maybe next Friday on Max's live stream as well. On Tuesdays at the moment I don't have the time, I'm honest. I don't watch a lot of TV at the moment. but I do watch The Masked Singer. And Max, I'm sorry, but at Tuesday evenings, there's The Masked Singer in Germany at the moment, and I can't join your chat your live stream at the moment. I'm sorry. So maybe on last Friday, I was on Max's live stream watching as well. I really like that, and I recommend you do this. And just to make sure, if there's someone who doesn't know it already, just for FSM, what did you do? Is my Nightbot really that strict still? Huh. So there you have the link to Max's channel. I say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your super chats and your assistance and your support all the time. I'm really looking forward to talk to you again. Wolfgang, what kind of singer on Tuesday? Well, for me, Gildo Horn and Ross Anthony are definitely two of them, and one of them is Thomas Anders. Gildo Horn, many of you still know from the Eurovision if you ever watched it. He was on 7th place in the UK when the year after Katrina and the Waves won the Eurovision. Gildo Horn was there with Gildo hat euch lieb, and the other one, Ross Anthony, is British, and he's married to a British opera singer, and he probably is one of them too. So, but let's not start with the Masked Singer now. Have a nice evening. See you tomorrow morning. It's 6 p.m. CET. Have fun und auf Wiedersehen.